I'm Geraldine Brooks, and I'm in Aspen to speak at Winter Words.
I'm Tony Horwitz, and I'm here for the same reason.
My book came out last fall, and I've been traveling a lot and speaking about it, and I have to say I haven't quite got to the point where I can go back down the rabbit hole for the next novel yet, but I know exactly what it is, and I'm very much looking forward to getting started on it. It's a braided historical narrative about a horse from the 1860s, a racehorse, and a missing painting of that horse that brings you into the 1940s in New York City and the abstract expressionist movement. So it's going to be great fun because it's two things I absolutely love, horses and painting.
I'm at a different stage than Geraldine. It's been a few years since my last book came out, so I'm not busy promoting or traveling in that regard. And I'm deep into the research for the next one, which involves a lot of travel because I'm following Frederick Law Olmsted, who's known to Americans for designing Central Park and many other parks. But before he did any of that, he traveled across the South right before the Civil War, undercover for the New York Times, sending dispatches about what's going on and why is the country falling apart, and then wrote several books about his journeys. So I'm retracing his journey from Maryland to Mexico, writing about what he saw then and what I see now.
I think Tony's looking for a story where there are a great many sources, and I'm looking for a story where maybe there aren't. I'm looking for a story where you can know something really fascinating, but you can't know everything. There has to be a void, because if there are perfect diaries and perfect accounts of what happened, there's no room for the novelist's imagination. So I'm looking for the intriguing void where the imagination has to go to work to say, well, maybe it happened like this.
My research is a little different from, say, a historian who is writing a traditional history, because I'll do about half my research in archives and libraries and traditional historic sources, letters, documents, etc. But half my research is also going to the places where the history happened. And for that research, I'm really acting like a journalist, going around with a notebook in my pocket, interviewing people, traveling. So mine is really about half and half, and I couldn't possibly do what Geraldine does, which is sit down at a computer with a blank screen. I need a pile of notes next to me to give me fuel for the fire of writing.
When I wrote my first novel, somebody actually wanted to read it, so I got to keep doing it. But your story was a little different.
I had been already writing books as a journalist, so I was sort of had a day job and then this side job, and about the same time transitioned to really more full-time book writing for much the same reason. When you don't have kids, we were in war zones and things, and you felt not exactly expendable, but that God forbid something happened, Geraldine would understand that, and vice versa. As soon as you have a kid, the equation changes a bit, and we just got older. The thrill of being in trenches and all the other craziness diminished, and so I get the urge every once in a while when I watch the news, and then it passes.
I'm actually going back to it a little bit now that the boys are older and it's possible to be away. So I'll be doing some reporting in Israel this spring. It doesn't always go well. You have some days when you can get absolutely no liftoff whatsoever. Your plane is still clumping along the runway at the end of the day, but then there are other days when it just takes off and it soars, and it's a fantastic experience. But when people complain about the writing life, I always think to myself, yeah, go work in a metal press for 10 hours a day and see how hard the writing life is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think writers are somewhat famous for moaning and sort of self-pity, and I'm blocked. I think part of the reason we have this gratitude is that we were journalists first, working at newspapers, where there's a kind of very unfussy attitude about the writing process. You don't wait for your aura to be in the right place. you've got a deadline, and writing becomes just something you do every day, whether you feel like it or not. And I think partly because of that, maybe we don't go through the self-torture that some writers do. That being said, there are bad days.
And you can't expect it to be good, but you, as a reporter, you can't expect it to be good the first go, So as a reporter, you're used to getting something down, and once you've got something down, then you can fix it, you can improve it, you can keep revising it. And we have a friend who's a sculptor. Her name's Sarah Z, and she has a great description of her process. She says it goes mess, 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 art.
Getting a Pulitzer did change my trajectory because I was 35, and I was thinking about getting out of journalism into book writing, and I think it just made it easier for me to do that. I had a certain credential that allowed me to kind of take the free fall of not having a day job and just hoping I could make it as a book writer. So in that respect, I'm very thankful.
I was a little bit older, and my son was 9 at the time, and the day it happened, he told someone, "Mum just got the Pulitzer surprise." And that really was what it was, because it was not even something that was, when a friend called to tell me, I thought he'd made a mistake. I said, "I haven't done any journalism, how can I have got this prize?" And he said, "It's for your novel." So it was wonderful. It certainly brings you more readers, and you still have to get up in the morning and face the blinking cursor. It doesn't change the process at all.
Right.